Okay, I am Chris Mullins, and I am the co-owner of Tricky Dick Kennels. I co-own Tricky Dick Kennels with my granddad, who originally founded the kennels back in 1979. It originally started with just a $10 dog that he had gotten. And he just was driving down the side of the road and saw it. It was starving, and he just felt for it and decided to pick it up and started bird hunting with him. Then he got a dog that was bred from a dog called Tomoka's Tricky Dick, and he bought it and named it Tennessee Tricky Dick. And that's where the name Tricky Dick Kennels comes from. So he started competing in trials back then in the 80s, and then ended up winning the first national championship that he ever qualified for with Tennessee Tricky Dick. And he was so poor at the time, he actually had to borrow somebody's shotgun and somebody's dog trailer to go to Indiana to run in that field trial, and then ended up winning it with all this hand-me-down stuff. So went on from there. He had Tennessee Tricky Dick, and then after he died, he got Tricky Dick. His name was Tricky Dick and Tricky Dick Jim. Those were his two most successful dogs. And then very successful, I think between those two, there is, I believe, 9 national championships. I came along. I started competing in trials with him when I was 10 years old. And then my granddad got he had a heart surgery. At one point he had to have open bypass surgery. And then 6 months after having that, he got ran over by a tractor, which I was actually driving the tractor that ran him over. But that busted open his stitches and stuff, and it broke his foot and stuff, and he had to go to the hospital, get sewed back up. Then 6 months later, he had colon cancer. And then a year later, the colon cancer came back. But in that time frame of all that cancer and stuff, I really stepped up my game and what I was doing. And I ended up getting this dog called, that we ended up naming Tricky Dick Lou. And Lou ended up qualifying for the national championship in 2010. Up. And I wasn't able to go to that trial, and my granddad had just came back from all the chemo and radiation, and so he took the dog and ran her for me while I was still in high school at the time. I was a senior, and he took her and won the national championship with my dog, and it was one of the most memorable moments of my life. Tricky Dick today, and the direction that we're going, is we're really getting a lot of young dogs up and going, and a new breed of dogs. I think they're some of the best dogs we've ever had. And now we have my little brother coming up too. He's 10 years old, and he's really learning the craft of it, and he's actually doing pretty well at dog training himself. And he's really learning the business out of it. For a 10-year-old, he has the mind of a freaking 40-year-old.
Alright, I'm Jack Mullins. I'm Chris Mullins' brother.
Hey, how old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
How long have you been messing with dogs?
And I've been messing with the dogs since I was, I guess, 4 years old. About 6 years now.
Between me and him and my granddad, I think it's I like where things are going, and I hope they continue as strong as they have been. I'm Chris Mullins. That's the history of Tricky Dick. Here's to a better future. Get hard, Dick.